Next speaker is Dr. Rabindranath, who's the director of Drishti Specialty Eye Hospital, and he's going to show his brilliant pearl. On to you, Dr. Rabindranath.
Can you?
Yes,
see
we
my
can hear
screen?
you. Yes,
Okay.
yes, yes.
This video also is seen now.
Yes, yes.
Thank you, ARC, headed by Dr. Chitra Madam, for this opportunity. And this is not a very unusual case, but we cater a lot of rural area patients, so we get across these patients. This is a 80-year-old lady who presented with a phacolytic glaucoma. The pressure was 60 to 70, but with all the anti-glaucoma medications, it did not come down. So I had to take her for the surgery even with the higher pressure. So I had two options, whether to do an SICS because the age was 80 and nucleus would be a harder nucleus. But considering the pressure was still high, I went ahead with a phaco because it's more controlled procedure. The challenges were the media was very hazy. So what to do? That then first I did a guarded slow 2.8 clear corneal incision. So it removed some of the turbid aqueous. So media got a bit clear, but it was not sufficient. Then I went ahead with a debriding the epithelium. So this made now things are a little clear. So the media clear part is better now. Media part is better now. Then the challenge comes capsular excess because it's a hypermature cataract with a loose zonules of 8-year-old. Then the capsular excess would be slightly difficult. So I tried to puncture the anterior capsule. It was difficult because it was loose and wrinkled because the nucleus was smaller. I could make an opening, and as you see, a liquid cortex came out, and the nucleus is dancing inside the bag. So then there was no way to complete the capsular excess with the needle, the cystotome. Then I took a Aldipur-Cursor forceps. This is a very innovative forceps where you can do our excess with a side port, unless Utrata, where we need to use a main port for that. So without forming, without needing of the repeated viscoelastics, the single go you can do a capsular excess with a closed chamber. This is a little difficult, but I took a little more time. Slowly I could complete the capsular excess. So now comes the nuclear phacoemulsification. The traditional teaching of direct chop, quadrant, stop chop all don't work here because it's a smaller nucleus but hard, and there is no support, cortical cushion support there. So I tried to hold the nucleus in the center and use a chopper to cut like a vegetable. Then because there was no cortex support there, I could not go either side. Stay in the center as long as possible. Try to use my left hand more dynamically than my right hand, and try to make into smaller pieces and reduce my flow rate because these fragments can come and hit the corneal endothelium. Already 80-year-old lady, so I wanted to make more sure and use high quality viscoelastic. And I stayed in the center, the phaco hand piece, the tip stayed in the center, did not go either side, and tried to use a chopper and make into multiple pieces. And I could slowly, without touching the bag and taking the bag out, I could take out the nucleus. Only thing is make multiple small pieces because this is where the zonules will be weak. Even the slightest touch of the phaco tip to the bag end up in a subluxation of the bag. So I stayed in the center slowly using high vacuum and high phaco energy. I could luckily complete my phacoemulsification. So in the end, I could place a single piece IOL in the bag. So only a difficult part was media was hazy and pressure was high. I was a little more worried of the pressure and inflamed eye already, so I did not want to do an SICS in this. And there was no cortical support. It was a freely floating nucleus in the bag. So it was a little difficult for me to do phacoemulsification.
Wonderful, wonderful, Dr. Rabindranath. Could you stop sharing?
Yes.
So, so who are the expert panel here? Yeah, Dr. Dhami is there. Dr. Dhami, I wanted to ask, in these kind of hypermature cataracts, what would be, if we are to do a chop, would a vertical chop be easier or a horizontal chop be easier? Though such a mobile leathery nucleus it is.
Yeah, it's a free floating nucleus. And with one stroke, you hold the nucleus from the center and don't let it fall. And a modified, what Dr. Rajendra Prasad does is the peripheral chop. See, you hold it from the center and keep chopping from the all around, and finally you get all these splits. Refill again with viscoelastic, and they take out the fragments.
Gaurav, I wanted to ask you, these kind of hyper mature mobile nucleus, would you think, you could expect the PC to be very thin, it could get trampolining in. Would you actually ever think of putting a CTR there?
Absolutely.
Would you do that? Would you
Yes.
think of using an IOL scaffold also?
So these the IOL scaffold technique has been described for these Morgagnonian cataracts, and it's definitely worthwhile because it protects the PC. And while I've never done it, I'm looking forward to do it in a good case. But a CTR for sure in such cases, especially if the capsule is floppy and it's kind of, because you're going to use high vacuum as you're
Yes.
going to try and embed into the nucleus. You will have to use high vacuum, and most often the rhexis ends up being a little small, so you have the risk of kind of damaging the rhexis as well. So I think having a CTR in place definitely makes sense. Only if you are kind of scared of a PCR and worried that the CTR may just go through or not, integrity is not good, then you may avoid it. But otherwise, I think you are absolutely spot on. And the IOL part also, I think we've learned that many people have done it and shown beautifully how an IOL will protect the PC, and you can get these out. And nice points, ma'am.
Yeah. Would you think, I have no idea about this MyLoop? Could that have also been tried? Any of you have tried
I think
it?
MyLoop would be a great option here because it would not allow the nucleus to run around, and a
Yeah.
MyLoop in such cases would be actually fantastic. And we could even put in a lens first, an IOL first, and then use the MyLoop to get this out. Maybe.
Yeah. So
This nucleus is
wonderful.
little larger for the
Yes,
IOL
Partha?
scaffold.
Yeah,
Yes, Partha.
Ravindranath's technique is an excellent technique, and I follow it all the time for these cases. The only thing is that embedding into the center of the nucleus and then making it stand. So the embedding part is the tricky part. So if you can get an embed and then have your sharp chopper support the nucleus, embed a little further, and then do a chop, it really works extremely well. And that's the way to go, because you don't have the cushion of the epinucleus or cortical matter for such embeddings. So I think you've really showed very, very well, I think.
Yeah.
Actually,
Very well.
if you embed at the center and then you try to bring the chopper from the periphery, nucleus will start rotating.
Yeah.
So it becomes very difficult to crack them. So the best way to do is like you start embedding from the center and go towards the periphery. As Dr. Dhami said, hold it at the periphery and then bring the chopper or the cracker and then crack at the equator itself. And you get a complete full thickness crack of the nucleus, the whole nucleus into two pieces. So that makes it very easy because you are holding the nucleus and you're not letting the nucleus to rotate. This is a small nucleus and big capsular bag. So you have a much space over there. So your aim is to hold the nucleus properly and then crack it without putting any pressure on the posterior capsule. So the best way is to hold at the equator and then crack it. If you hold at the center,
point,
The only thing,
proper crack.
Yes. Very valid point.
Dr.
Yes.
Aarti, the way
only
he
thing
showed,
was,
making it stand vertically, so that
Yeah.
was a very good way, making it stand vertically, then you have the chopper just coming in vertically and the whole thing divides into two. So that was...
because the nuclear material is so dense, because if you bring the chopper from the periphery and try to bring it to the center, you have to cut it.
Yes.
And these
while it is vertical.
you won't cut
While
very
it is
easily.
vertical.
so when it is vertical, one question I had was when it suddenly becomes vertical like this, is there any risk to the corneal endothelium as well as to the fragile PC?
Yes.
That's
No,
probably,
not really, not really. It's a
especially when
small
there is a
nucleus.
sudden movement and it flies all around. Even if you have made 2-3 pieces, it flies all around and it's not stable. Like you're impaling it, but it's slipping out and there is no cortical cushion. So when it suddenly becomes vertical, and if the PC is a little fragile, there could be a risk of PC tear or corneal endothelial damage? I just want to know the opinion of all of you.
Actually,
That's why
impaling is the
doing
most
an
important thing here. Once it is impaled well, then you cannot impale it in the first go. So you have to impale, hold it, support it with the sharp chopper, again impale. And then once it is well impaled, then crack it. So that would ensure that it cracks well also. Otherwise, it will fly all around.
And I think keep holding it. I think keep holding it.
Yes.
Dr. Ramanthi sir was saying.
Yes.
One good thing is about these lenses are that they are not leathery. Most often they are more like chalk and they can be easily cracked. And that makes it a little easier to remove. But apart from the various techniques that was discussed about splitting the nucleus, two things I'll be constantly bothered about is the endothelium and the posterior capsule. And I often in these situations place a IOL scaffold. Once the lenses come out, even the entire lenses and the nucleus is in the anterior chamber. And I was constantly looking in Ravindranath's video for repeated refilling of the dispersive viscoelastic. Maybe that was edited out, but that's something that I would insist upon doing because most of the phaco is happening in the anterior chamber. And rather than using the energy constantly, you have to give short bursts of phaco and then try to remove the nucleus. And I think not all of us may have it, but this is a situation where an 80-year-old with such a hard cataract, long-standing, good specular microscopy and corneal thickness is also important. And maybe these nuclei are quite small. So just in case you have a low endothelial cell count, it might even be a better idea to remove it by SACS rather than doing an anterior chamber phaco investigation. If at all you are attempting that, repeated refilling with dispersive viscoelastics is extremely important.
Thank you. We have 4 more speakers. Paucity of time. We'll move.